Today we are going to be looking at order of operations. So, to simplify expressions, we are going to follow order of operations. So the first thing we're going to do is take care of the parentheses. So anything that has parentheses or grouping, we're going to do first, and then look inside of that and follow the steps again. After parentheses, and we simplify the parentheses, we simplify the exponents. Then, from left to right, whichever comes first, we multiply or divide. So if division comes first, we divide. Then, after we multiply and divide, we add or subtract. Again, this is from left to right, like you would read a book. So a way to remember order of operations and what operations to do first, one way is Pemdas. And it's the letter of each operation. So PEMDAS. Another one that I grew up learning was, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So the P for parentheses, E for excuse, or for exponents, M for multiply, D for divide, A for add, S for subtract. So let's look at some examples. We have 12 minus 3 times 5. So Pemdas says we have to multiply before we subtract. So we're going to multiply 3 times 5. And 3 times 5 gives us 15. Then we're going to bring down everything else as it is. Then we have 12 minus 15, and 12 minus 15 is negative 3. Just take it one step at a time. Number 2, we have 3 times 15 divided by 5 plus 12. So multiply divide comes before addition, and we go from left to right. So we're going to multiply first. 3 times 15. 3 times 15 is 45. Bring down everything else as it is. Now we reevaluate. Division comes before addition. So we're going to divide 45 divided by 5. And that gives us 9. Bring down the plus 12. Now we do 9 plus 12, and that is 21. Number 3, we have 4 squared plus 24 times 3 divided by 9. So Pemdas, we have a square for exponent, we have addition, multiplication, and division. The exponent comes first, so we're going to simplify 4 squared. And 4 squared is 16. Bring everything else down as is. Now we have addition, multiplication, and division. Multiplication comes first, so we're going to multiply 24 times 3. And 24 times 3 is 72. Bring down everything else as is. Then we're going to divide. 72 divided by 9 gives us 8. Bring down our plus 16. And lastly, 16 plus 8 gives us 24. Look at number 4. Pemdas says we're going to take care of our exponent first. So 3 squared. That gives us 9. Bring down everything else as it is. And then we're going to divide. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Bring down everything else. We have subtraction and addition. Subtraction and addition are in the same step, so we go from left to right. So we're going to subtract 8 minus 5, which gives us 3, and then add that to 9. 3 plus 9 is 12. Okay, let's look at number 5. 8 divided by 1/2 times 3. So we can think of this as 8 times 2 over 1. We change the division into a multiplication problem since we're dealing with fractions. So now we multiply. 8 times 2 over 1, which would be 16. Bring down times 3. Now multiply. 16 times 3 gives us 48. And number 6, we have subtraction, multiplication, addition, and addition. So Pemdas says we're going to multiply. 11 times 8 is 88. Bring down everything else as it is. So we have subtraction and addition. So for addition and subtraction, we go from left to right. So we're going to subtract. 100 minus 88 gives us 12. Bring down everything else. Now add from left to right. 12 plus 10 is 22. Then we're going to add 22 plus 12 is 34. So those examples had no parentheses or grouping. So let's look when we have some grouping or parentheses. So we have a fraction here. Think of the top as a parenthesis and the bottom as a parenthesis. We're going to simplify the top, then simplify the bottom. Then we're going to take care of the fraction for the division. So first thing we need to do here is simplify 2 squared. And 2 squared is 4. Bring down everything else for the numerator as it is. Then negative 22 minus 4 gives us negative 26. Now let's simplify the denominator. 5 minus 3 is 2. Now we can simplify negative 26 over 2. So negative 26 divided by 2 gives us negative 13. Okay, here we have these straight parentheses. We call that absolute value. So we're going to simplify the inside first. We're going to think of it as a grouping or a parenthesis. So we have an exponent, 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. Bring everything as is. Now we're going to subtract 10 minus 25, because we're still inside that parenthesis, is negative 15. So we have the absolute value of negative 15 divided by 5. The absolute value of negative 15, if you recall, gives us the positive, which is 15. Now we have 15 divided by 5, and that is 3. Okay, we have another fraction here. So we have 5 plus 2 times negative 8 all over negative 2 cubed minus 3. So let's just focus on the numerator. First thing we have to do is 2 times negative 8 because we are multiplying. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Bring down the 5. Now 5 minus 16 is negative 11. Now let's simplify the denominator. We have an exponent, negative 2 to the third. So think of it as negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So we get -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is -8. We're going to subtract 3 from it. And we get -11. And -11 divided by -11 is +1. Let's look at the next one. We have absolute value. So we're going to think of that as parentheses. So we're going to simplify the inside first. So 4 minus 7 is -3. We're going to take the absolute value of it and bring everything else down. Absolute value of -3 is a +3. Bring everything else down. So we got rid of that parenthesis, or that absolute value. Here we have a parenthesis, but that's not meaning we have to simplify it first. All it is showing is that this 3 is negative, so you don't think of it as a subtraction problem. So let's take care of our exponent. 3 squared is 9, and we're going to divide that by -3. 9 divided by -3 is -3. Okay, the last problem we're going to look at today is 3 times the square root of 50 minus 1. This square root we're going to treat like a parenthesis or a grouping, so we'll simplify the inside first. 50 minus 1 is 49, square root, and then 3. What is the square root of 49? That is 7, so we're going to take 7 and multiply it by 3, and we get 20. So that is the lesson on Pemdas, or orders of operation. Please reach out if you have any questions.